welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder. And today's episode is brought to you by Nursing Queen. Nursing
Woo!
Queen. Yes, welcome, Nursing Queen. They are a super cute breastfeeding clothing brand based right here in the U.S. And I still wear the nursing hoodies that I got from them years ago. They stand up to all the washing, and they have the little thumb holes. And
I love that.
I know I have one friend who is like obsessed with thumb holes, and it's got like the front pocket, and then it zips across the front so you can nurse. Which obviously I don't anymore, but you can't see the zipper, and it's like the sweatshirt I get complimented on the most. They're like, "Ooh, I love your sweatshirt." And I'm like, "Ooh, watch this." And then like unzip it. And they're like, "Oh my God, it's a nursing sweatshirt." And I'm like, "Yeah."
I want to get one.
Yeah, they're really cool. So we will hear more from our sponsor later, but you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check out our sponsor page. If you ever need anything, see if you can give any of them your business, because they make this podcast possible. And while you're there, scroll down, enter your email address, and we'll send episodes straight to your inbox every week. And we are on Patreon, and we've had a couple of people join us. We've had Brianna and Shelby have joined us. I can't remember the last time I updated people on who has joined us. But unfortunately, I think looking at my phone, I can't pull up the audience, like the new member names. So that's all right. But I do know that Shelby and Brianna have joined us, and we're looking forward. Yes, thank you. And we're looking forward to new people joining us and having the fun with us with our extra ad-free content and our Zoom hangouts. And I'm sorry, I'm sniffling a little bit. I went to my parents' house, and it is like allergen city up here. I don't know what's happening. But we also are still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet. Just take a screenshot of your written review, your stars, your whatever it is, and send the screenshot along with your address to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. We had somebody who couldn't leave a review on her app, so she shared it onto her like Facebook page, just like not like a business page, just her personal page to her friends. And she took a screenshot of that, and she was like, "Do you think I could get a goodie bag for this?" And I thought that was a cute idea. So, share it with people on social media or wherever, and let us know that you did, and send us your address, and we'll send you a goodie bag. Because the whole idea is to get like word out about the podcast. That's why we're doing it. So in the ways that you're doing that, like, we appreciate it, and we want to send you a goodie bag for doing that. And now Dianne has our review of the week.
I am so grateful I found this podcast when I was pregnant with my son. I listened to it all throughout my pregnancy and continue to listen to it through my breastfeeding journey whenever I need support or advice. Dianne and Abby are so informative and hilarious, and have given me the confidence to brush off all the ridiculous breastfeeding misinformation out there. I truly believe the confidence they instilled in me is a huge part of what has helped me be confident as a breastfeeder in a formula feeding world. It was really so important for me to breastfeed my son, and we are now 6 months in and going strong. Truly a must listen for a new mom who wants to breastfeed or is running into any challenges with breastfeeding. Oh, the confidence is really nice, isn't it?
Yes.
The confidence makes a huge difference. I mean, feeling that seriously. Confidence. Yeah.
I feel like that's, what do they say? Like the, mindset is 80% of the game or something.
Oh my gosh. It makes a huge difference when you have that confidence. You can just you said, like she said, just get past all of the misinformation that's out there. You can feel confident in what you're doing. You can feel really good about your experience. It just makes a huge difference to feel that confidence. And you don't feel that until you have the education behind you. And once you have the education behind you and all of that, then you're golden.
Yeah, it's true. It's really, because the misinformation, the point of it is to put doubt in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then that makes you doubt everything. I mean, it just makes you doubt everything.
It does. Yeah.
And that's the problem.
I wanted to do I meant to do this a couple weeks ago and totally forgot. I wanted to do a shout out to Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have signed into law. I had to pull it up again. They have a new breastfeeding law in Puerto Rico, which I thought was fantastic. I can't remember
what it is.
It is. The law establishes August as Breastfeeding Awareness Month, guarantees the right to breastfeeding in any public or private space, mandates at least 1 hour of paid time each workday for breastfeeding or expressing milk for up to 12 months after returning from maternity leave. And the law also prohibits the provision of breast milk substitutes in health facilities without medical authorization or parental consent.
Nice.
Very nice. Good job, Puerto Rico. We're really proud.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. But I meant to do that a couple weeks ago because it came in a couple weeks ago that I read that. I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Especially the piece about having the formula being parental consent, because that is really important. A lot of babies get supplemented without parental consent, and that's not okay. I mean, even if you're fine with it, it's crazy, right? But even if you're fine with it, ask the parent. Like, come on.
How can you? Yeah.
I mean, you're doing something to their baby. So,
I mean, I swear, hospitals, like the mindset there is so authoritarian.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I just remember being there. It was a really long time ago now, but I fainted at work. And so I went to the emergency room and I was admitted because nobody knew why. So I was getting all these tests done and I was like, it was a super stressful time in my life. I was in grad school. It was like my last semester and I drove myself insane, but I was so stressed out. And like, after a whole entire night, I was going from department to department, all these stress tests. And after one of the tests, the nurse came in and was like trying to put my IV back in. And I was like, no, I don't want that back in my arm. I'm not doing this. And she was like, well, I don't have the authority to change that. And I was like, well, I do.
You're the patient.
I know. Like, what do you mean you don't have the authority? I'm telling you, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's just so like cultural, like hospital culture. Like obviously you're doing whatever we tell you to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's crazy.
And that just that's no.
Yeah, you should have a say in what goes on.
You do have a say. You demand it.
Yeah. Definitely speak up for yourself.
Which is hard. This will just be the first. I feel like parenthood is where you really get to finally assert dominance in your life.
I agree with that. And I totally agree with that. That's where I got more dominant. That's where I see parents becoming more dominant, is when you become a parent and you either have to stand up for your kids or you have to stand up for yourself. And that's where it happens. Before that, it seems like, oh, whatever, you're just kind of like going through life.
Because you're always told, especially as a woman, like, just shut up, don't say anything, don't make waves. And then when you become a parent, you're like, okay, well, and it just become like your kids become more important than you are to yourself. You're like, wait, no, I mean, you can kick me around, but you're not going to kick my kids around.
Right. It's crazy.
All right.
Now, today, we're going to talk about traveling because we had a travel situation come up.
We did, and it was really interesting. I was going to actually, it was one of the emails where I was considering reading it on the podcast. And then before I ever could even do that, she ended up going through with the travel and wrote back with like this really long email about what they did and how they made it work. So I could just read the whole thing and then we can kind of go through. Now this is all about traveling by car, which is tricky. So we can also talk about traveling by air and, offer some tips for that.
Yeah.
But we'll start with this. And so this is Julia. She says, my husband and I will be moving across the country. They're moving from the Los Angeles area to Missouri. I have some milk in my freezer I've been able to build up naturally, and I definitely want to have it with us in our new house. What's the best way to transport it? I will be flying, and my husband will be driving. I'm not ready to turn my breast milk into soap or jewelry yet, as my baby is still quite dependent on milk, and I don't plan on weaning anytime soon. We just made an offer on a house, and I specifically requested that the freezer remain plugged in, so there will be a new spot for my hard-earned stash. Please let me know any advice you have, and I would prefer to keep it frozen at this juncture rather than turning it into powder, because that is one option.
Mm-hmm.
Let me finish the initial email. Thanks for everything. Then she just goes on to the first episode I ever listened to was on cluster feeding, and it was so validating. And then she goes on, but for time's sake, we'll just move on to her question. So I said to her, I was like, yeah, I think that probably, because first of all, she's flying. So she's with the kids. She's got the baby, at least one baby. And so it makes sense that maybe she doesn't feel like, depending on how much breast milk she has, like also bringing it through TSA. And her husband's driving. You don't have to deal with all of the security stuff. So it's easier. I was like, if he can just like, if he's going to drive straight through, because a lot of people will do that. They'll just drive straight through. And I'm like, throw it in a cooler with a bunch of ice, and he can just drive straight through, and it'll be fine. Even if it defrosts a little bit, we know that breast milk can be refrozen as long as there's any ice crystals in it. Right?
Right. Correct.
Okay. So, to me, that seems like the easiest thing. I don't know. To me, it seems easier than bringing it through TSA.
Yeah.
Who will do, we don't know what. Who will decide, we don't know what laws we're going to have to follow today, because TSA is sometimes messy. So then she wrote, and one of the options too is, and we know we've had sponsors that will freeze dry your breast milk and turn it into powder, which is a very great option. You can, I've had it in my notes of like episode ideas of having someone on and just kind of talking to us about the process of that. And because I just think it's interesting, like how do they, because it's a new thing, right? And it like maintains the nutrients, and you can, you just put it in with water. How do you, I don't even remember.
Reconstitute it with water, and it
and then you have breast milk again. But she didn't want to do that. That's a part of her story. She didn't want to do that. So what's the next thing that she can do? So I suggested the car, and then she did the whole move and wrote a long email about what she did. And Diane and I are like, this is great. We'll just do a whole episode on this email, because she did the work, and she's letting the badass family know what she did. So she said her husband drove the U-Haul, a 23-hour car drive. And he stopped for 2 nights. So driving straight through wasn't an option. But she was determined to arrive with her milk, and she found a way. Her big recommendation, dry ice, which she had never used before. I was able to fly with it and then store it in the hotel's back freezer until we brought it to our new home. So I guess when they moved, they initially just went to a hotel because their house wasn't ready to be moved into yet. So she said, here, she has a bunch of points and we'll go through some, discuss, we'll take a break in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And continue. So you can fly or overnight frozen breast milk with dry ice. I flew with it in a checked cooler. Oh, so she did fly with it.
So she checked it.
So she checked it, which is easier. And if you've got dry ice, then you don't have to worry about it. You can fly or overnight frozen breast milk with dry ice. I flew with it in a checked cooler. Okay, so you can fly or you can overnight it, which is what you just said, isn't it? Okay. I had to get it in my mind that you can overnight it. So like overnight it through like UPS or something.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's a nice option too.
Yeah.
Dry ice can never be in an airtight container or it can explode. I didn't know that. A cooler with an unscrewed cap where it can drain is fine. I've heard styrofoam containers work well too, though that's not what I used. Always use gloves or something similar when handling dry ice, or it can burn you. My Exley's really into dry ice right now. He just like sees like videos about it, and he's just like tells me all the facts about dry ice. You can only touch it. I mean, you can't touch it. You can just like only touch it for like a second. Otherwise, I'm like, okay. So always use gloves so you don't hurt yourself. And dry ice keeps things very cold. When she arrived at the hotel and opened the cooler, all the other items, including chocolate, I love her. I love that there was chocolate in this cooler that I had thrown in there, were also very cold. So, yeah, it's not like regular ice. Checking the cooler was likely a lot cheaper than overnighting it, though I'm not sure how that would have been. She's probably right, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That overnighting it is pretty expensive. But it's also like a one-time thing. Like if you're moving and you're moving a whole chest full of breast milk, it's kind of just like you're going to probably just see that as like a one-time moving fee, basically. And you might be more likely to do it if you see it that way. Should we take a break and then we'll come back?
Yeah, let's hear about Nursing Queen. And then we'll come back and do some rules.
Nursing Queen. Today's episode is brought to you by Nursing Queen, a super cute breastfeeding clothing brand that is based right here in the U.S. Like I said, I have my favorite sweatshirts from there, but they have a million different things. And they are all really very cute. Nursing Queen was started by a breastfeeding mom who was looking for more options for nursing clothes. 8 years later, it became one of the top brands in the country and trusted by hundreds of thousands of moms. They offer nursing sweatshirts, t-shirts, dresses, pajamas, swimwear, and even breastfeeding scrubs. Ditch the layers and covers, and no need to undress to feed your baby. Nursing Queen's unique designs have hidden zippers, lift up flaps, or pull aside access. They focus on trendy boutique styles that don't look like nursing clothes. So like me, you can wear those long after your nursing days. Their sizes range from how do you say that? Extra small.
Right.
To 3X plus. And all their orders are designed, packed, and shipped from their warehouse just outside of Tampa, Florida. So check them out at nursingqueen.com. That's nursingqueen, like all of you, .com. And don't forget to use code BADASS and you will get an extra 10% off of your order. So check out their website. I know that Diane and I have been scrolling on their website and looking at all
these sweatshirts. Yeah.
You got to get the sweatshirt. I can, I mean, if people are interested in the particular sweatshirt that I'm looking at, which you might be, or that I have, I will, how will we do this? I will, the week that this comes out, I will put it in my stories. The week that this comes out. Y'all are listening to this right now. It'll be in my stories. Go over to my stories and in the Instagram, Badass Breastfeeding. The Badass Breastfeeder. That's my Instagram, the Badass Breastfeeder. And look at it. I'll put a picture of it in there. And yeah, so you can check the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from, and you'll find the direct link and the discount code, which is BADASS. And you can also head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, check out our sponsor page. Like I said, see if you can give them any of your business, and you'll also find all of our other episodes. You will find our favorite resources page and information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne.
Absolutely.
And so back to our dry ice information. Let's see. We purchased dry ice from Smart and Final, and I'm sure it can be bought from other places too. Pack the dry ice with newspaper or other similar material between that and the frozen milk. So it's just not touching. Dry ice does not melt, but it vaporizes over time. It turns into carbon dioxide. So should not be used in a small space like a bathroom or a car without the windows being cracked open. If you're going to overnight something, the cutoff time is 4:30 p.m. UPS and FedEx are options. FedEx only accepts shipments containing dry ice at certain locations. So if you're going to overnight it, maybe call ahead to make sure that your location accepts it. Confirm the time with them that you are going to, that you can have it there. There's going to be a cutoff for overnighting anything, I'm assuming. And yes, so that was what she did. Her milk is now in her new freezer, 1,600 miles away from where it started. And what a relief. So those are her dry ice suggestions and tips. That's a great option. Mm-hmm. And it's good to hear that you can check it on an airplane. I think that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Or I would probably just make Josh do it. I would just have him drive straight through with it in a cooler with a bunch of ice.
Because you could do dry ice in a cooler that way too.
Yes, but keep the windows cracked. Because it's going to vaporize and turn into carbon dioxide.
Oh. Cool. Cool.
Remember, she was like, don't put it in small spaces because it vaporizes into carbon dioxide.
Yeah. It's
so
wild.
Don't have your partner pass out. But yeah. And so if you're flying through, if you just have it with you and you're bringing it with you on the airplane, I would go to the TSA website and print out the TSA rules for flying with breast milk. Because, like we were talking about, they like to sometimes just decide what's going to happen.
Right. And it's pretty easy to find. It's pretty easy to find it on TSA. You could just even put it in the search. Just go to the TSA website and put it in the search bar, breast milk, and it'll come right up. because you can travel with breast milk formula, toddler drinks, baby food, like all those things can be traveled with. So, and you can do it in greater quantities than the 3.4 ounces that you're allowed to have. You can do it, and there's no limit. Like, you can bring a ton of it and they can't say anything. There's no limit.
Right. Yeah. Because there's like a lot of rules, and that breast milk doesn't apply to those rules.
Right. And your ice packs and all that stuff don't apply. Yeah. Yeah. Like the liquids rules. Breast milk doesn't apply to that because it's considered a food. Which it is a food. It's not considered a food. It's really a food. So the rules regarding breast milk is formula breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby toddler food to include puree pouches in quantities greater than 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters are allowed in carry-on baggage and do not need to fit within a quart-sized bag. Formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby toddler food, to include puree pouches, are considered medically necessary liquids. This also applies to breast milk and formula cooling accessories, such as ice packs, freezer packs, and gel packs, regardless whether or not you have the breast milk. Your child or infant does not need to be present or traveling with you to bring it with you. Inform the TSA officer at the beginning of the screening process that you are carrying formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby toddler food, including puree pouches. It says this with everything. In excess of 3.4 ounces. Remove these items from your carry-on bag to be screened separately from your other belongings. TSA officers may need to test the liquids for explosives or concealed prohibited items. So don't put any explosives in your breast milk. Because they will find it.
Yeah. That's not a good hiding spot. So don't use that. Find somewhere else.
Although not required to expedite the screening process, it is recommended that formula and breast milk be transported in clear, translucent bottles and not bags or pouches. Liquids in plastic bags or pouches may not be able to be screened by bottled liquid scanners, and you may be asked to open them, if feasible, for alternate screening such as explosive trace detection and vapor analysis for the presence of liquid explosives. Screenings will never include placing anything into the medically necessary liquid. The TSA X-ray machines do not adversely affect food or medicines. However, if you do not want the formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby toddler food to include puree pouches to be activated or opened, please inform the TSA officer. Additional steps will be taken to clear the liquid, and you or the traveling guardian will undergo additional screening procedures to include advanced imaging technology screening and additional enhanced screening of other carry-on property. Ice packs, freezer packs, frozen gel packs, and other accessories required to cool formula, breast milk, toddler milk, and baby toddler food to include puree pouches, regardless of the presence of breast milk, are also allowed in carry-ons, along with liquid-filled teethers.
Wait. Are you allowed to bring puree pouches?
You can bring puree pouches.
Okay, sorry.
If these items are particularly frozen or slushy, they are subject to the same screening as described above. Please see Traveling with Children for more information. So you can bring it with you. And that is if you have it in your carry-on. Otherwise, like she said, you can check it as well. So that was a great option for her to be able to do that. And she probably had quite a bit. She didn't say how much she had, did she?
She didn't. No, I don't think she did. Wait, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this is, I agree. I think it would depend on how much you have, of what you're going to want to do. Like if you have like a really, really large amount, you're probably not going to want to just bring it with you through the TSA thing. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't say how much she had.
If you're traveling internationally, you might have different rules because different countries might have different policies. So I would definitely look into that if you are traveling internationally with your breast milk. You also have...
So here's my question. Is TSA an American organization only?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a stupid question? Probably.
No, because and the only reason why I know is because I was traveled to Calgary just recently. And when I was traveling back from Calgary, I was in Canada, I was in Calgary, and the person that did my, she was like the TSA agent there. She was like super nice. And I said to her, I go, you're like the nicest
TSA. She can't be American.
I go, you're like the nicest TSA agent I've ever met. And she smiled and she left. She goes, well, that's because it's Canada, so it's like they didn't, have, she's like, we're not TSA kind of thing, but they're not, it's TSA is just like an American thing.
Yeah, I like TSA is something that I never really I don't even know if it's it's certainly not a word that we talked about as much, or an acronym, whatever, before 9/11.
Right. Nobody cared about it back then.
Nobody thought about it. You just went and you whatever, did your thing. And then it became a whole different monster, which a lot of people probably here listening are young enough that you don't remember
right.
really flying before that. And it was very different. You just got on the plane. They were like, you walked through and then you put your bag on the thing and you just walked and you got on the plane and you I've smoked on planes.
Yeah.
So it was really a different situation, not that long ago. And it's totally different now. So now they're obviously, and I'm very happy to do whatever they want me to do. Like whatever you want me to do to try to keep people from hijacking this plane, that's fine.
Right.
You can do whatever you want to do. The problem is that sometimes they're not very nice, and that's very stressful.
Right.
And sometimes they don't know all the rules. Like you're like, oh, I know I'm allowed to travel with this breast milk. And then they're giving you a hard time. So you don't always know what to expect because it's just people, they're just human beings who are having their own crappy day at work, trying to get through their day. And you might show up with breast milk and it might be the first time that person has ever dealt with breast milk. Now there's always, I live in Chicago. So when I get there, there's like a million TSA workers. But if you're at a smaller airport, I don't know, maybe there's just not as many.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's somebody there who you can just be like, they can be like, what do we do about this? But print it out, just print it out and be like, I've got it all, packed the way that I should. And here's the rules and here's this. And just being prepared will help you feel less stress. Because if you're traveling, I don't care. Traveling is stressful. I don't want to say traveling with kids or traveling with whatever. Just traveling is stressful.
It is.
So,
it is stressful.
Yeah, you have like an extra thing to deal with the breast milk.
You can also do things like Milk Stork, which will ship your breast milk. Of course, that costs money, but you can do that. That's an option. They do like freeze and ship. They handle everything for you. And
nice. Don't they even come to your house or something?
I don't know if they come to your house.
There was something about somebody coming to your house. I don't know.
But they do it for you. And you can do, like, I've had people tell me that like their company, if they have to travel for work, their company will do this for them, which is really nice. So there's options. You can travel with breast milk. You have to, you might need to do a little legwork, but you can definitely travel with your breast milk. This thing that because if you Google it, it really comes up with all sorts of great information.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like when you Google it, it'll say it gives all this information about international travel on the plane, at the airport, before your trip, additional tips. And then at the end of it, it says, remember, it's always best to consult with your healthcare provider for specific guidance on traveling with breast milk. Your healthcare provider doesn't know about traveling with breast milk.
They don't know shit about this. No way.
So I think it's got to be exhausting for healthcare providers to be asked everything.
Well,
all
and
the
this
time.
is, I've said this before. I really think that this is why they start giving random answers that they just don't even know, because they're asked everything. We have completely, I'm sorry, here I go. I'm on a rant. We were supposed to stop, but we have completely dismantled the community, the village, that people have always, humans have always, evolved living in. We're completely isolated in our houses, on our streets, in, our suburban areas or in our apartment buildings. We're locked in there by ourselves. Our partners are at work. We're at home going, oh my God, what the hell? We also have to go back to work pretty soon. We rarely have any elders around us that we're asking questions to, and they've been brought up in a completely formula marketed country. Breastfeeding was nearly eradicated here in America. Like, we don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. And so now we've got this person, the only person that we have, the only person that we see is our doctor. And so we're just like, oh God, what about this? What about this? And what about this? And they're not trained in any of this. They don't know any of it. I mean, they know a lot of shit. Thank God that they know all the medical stuff, but that's like a small portion of what they're asked. When you go to just think about the questions that you have when you have a baby. Right. And you're at the doctor's office asking them about baby sleep and breastfeeding and these things that they do not get educated on that in medical school. And all those years they're learning about diseases and, how to deal with that, and formula, because formula makes medical curriculum. So let's be real. They don't know this stuff.
And now they're being asked about how to travel with breast milk.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Ask your healthcare provider, first of all, why?
How is
this a medical issue?
I know. It's not a medical issue. I think that's
just like a liability thing people put at the bottom of their website.
Yeah,
This is not medical information. Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to in our litigious society. But anyway, yeah, you can Google a lot of good information. If you're traveling, if you have other travel tips, let us know, and we can shout those out at the beginning of future episodes for people to benefit from. Because people really do benefit from your experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.